I'm Matthew Mobilio, founder of the Mobilio Wood Law Firm, and in this video I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to pick the right lawyer. Now, I'm going to start with how not to pick a lawyer, and we'll start with website awards and ratings. So if you've been shopping for attorneys, you may have noticed that on their websites they reference certain awards that they claim to have won. For instance, you might see things like the top 40 personal injury attorneys under the age of 40, or the top 40 divorce and custody attorneys in Eastern Pennsylvania. Well, I can tell you that many, if not most of those awards are actually bogus. When I first started practicing law, I would get correspondence in the mail from these different companies that if you just paid them $400 or $500 or $600, they would identify you as one of the top 40 in whatever category that you wish. And it really had no reflection, in no way reflected what your experience was or how good of an attorney you were. And so you'll see a lot of these things on attorney websites that may look impressive, but in the end really just cost them a few $100s to be able to put it up there, and doesn't really tell you a whole lot about how they'll do. Same thing with ratings. Avo is one of the most popular places to get referrals for an attorney, and their rating system, which is out of a 10 is the highest you can get, their rating system is based almost exclusively on how thoroughly you fill out the profile on their webpage. When I first started my own firm, I was able to achieve a perfect 10 rating on Avo without having received any recommendations or reviews whatsoever from anyone. It was just about filling out the profile completely, providing as much information as you could, phone number, address, some things that you may have been involved in your legal career. So if you see an attorney that has a 10.0 rating on Avo, it doesn't mean they're a great lawyer. It just means they're very good at filling out paperwork. So you may have also heard of something called super lawyers. A lot of attorneys brag about super lawyers. I've been named a super lawyer 5 years in a row, 2 years in a row, whatever it might be. Super lawyers is another one of those things that we talked about earlier. It's offered by Martindale-Hubbell, which is a big legal website, legal resource. And Martindale, again, you actually have to pay for the award. They contact some of your colleagues to give you recommendations, but it ultimately does not say anything about how good of a lawyer you are and how much clients appreciate your advice or rely on it or think that you did a good job. So again, Avo, Martindale, Hubbell, super lawyers, the top 40 lists that seem to be everywhere, they don't tell you really anything about that attorney other than they usually have to pay to get those particular awards. Another thing you might be considering is free consultation. So we get a lot of calls from people who are calling for free consultations. Now, when it comes to employment discrimination or personal injury cases, we always offer free consultations. And the reason is that there is a very high volume of attorneys who are seeking those types of cases. And so it's necessary to provide free consultations because it's so competitive and the advertising costs are so extraordinary that you're trying to get as many people in the door as you can in those particular practice areas. But when it comes to divorce, custody, child support, PFA representation, we do not offer free consultations. The reason we don't is that free consultations are, as I said, just a way to get people in the door to then sell them your services. Even if it turns out you don't have a case or you don't need to hire the attorney. They make money, attorneys make money, we make money when a client hires us. So if you're calling for a free consultation, that attorney is not getting anything from you and may end up offering you services that you don't really need, but it's a way to get people in the door. Now, if you think about it, when you call a divorce attorney or a custody attorney and they're available immediately to do a free consultation, or you can schedule a free consultation the next day, what does that mean? That means they're not busy doing other people's work, other clients' work, existing clients' work. And if they're not busy doing other clients' work, you have to ask yourself, why not? Do they not have a full caseload? Have they not been able to successfully acquire a long client list? When I first started out my own practice, I offered free consultations because I had no clients and I needed to get people in the door. But once we established our reputation here, and we no longer were forced to give free consultations, we stopped. Now, we charge for consultations. That's because when I'm doing a free consultation, it means I'm not doing someone else's work, which means I'm not making money for the firm, which means ultimately my staff and I don't get paid. So ask yourself, if you're offering a free consultation as an attorney, what does that tell you about that person? Okay, they don't have many clients, they don't have a lot to do, and they're probably going to try to sell you on a service that you don't necessarily need, because that's the only way they're going to be able to make money. Now, what do you look for when hiring an attorney? I know we talked about all the things not to look for. First of all, reviews, right? Of course, reviews can be fake to some degree. You can have your friends and family leave reviews for you. But if you see a firm that has, 50 or more reviews, it's unlikely that those are all fraudulent, right? Maybe a couple are. But if you have a firm that has 50 or more reviews, you're going to see all of a microcosm really of all of the clients. You're going to see good reviews, bad reviews. You're going to see kind of everything that you need to know about that attorney with what the people say. Now, we're fortunate enough to have only a handful of bad reviews, typically because of a dispute about, maybe not getting back to someone as quickly as they'd like, or because the outcome of the case wasn't perfect, even though it was good, and that will oftentimes upset folks. But check reviews. If there's a negative review up on Google, you can't remove a negative Google review. So that means it's going to be there if someone left one. See if the firm responded. Maybe the firm has an explanation for why the review is bad. Or maybe the firm responded in a nasty manner and accused the client themselves of having done something wrong. I've seen that before, which is kind of embarrassing when you think about it. Also, you could ask a neighbor, ask a friend. It might be embarrassing sometimes, or you might feel ashamed that you need a lawyer, but you'd be surprised at how many people go through a situation where they need an attorney and have nothing else that they can do. They have to hire someone, and maybe they had a good experience and they can tell you to call that person, who could then maybe possibly refer you to someone else if they don't do that particular area of law. Finally, pay for the consultation. I know that may be difficult for some folks depending on their income level, but you spend a half an hour on the phone with 2 or 3 attorneys, you're going to get a good sense of what type of person that is. Not just what kind of lawyer they are, but whether you're going to get along with that person. You're going to be going through a very difficult experience with them, and you need someone that you're going to feel comfortable with, that you don't feel like is trying to take advantage of you, that you don't feel like is going to just let your case squat and wander and not do anything with it. You'll get a sense of that if you talk to them over the phone, but you're going to have to pay for them, because you can have half a dozen free consultations, and again, you have to wonder why those folks are offering free consultations for a divorce and custody case. It usually means they're not too busy. Now remember, choosing the right lawyer may be one of the most important things that you'll ever do. So take your time and do it right.